Hello everybody, I am Raw Toast and welcome back to the life and suffering of Sir Brante. In the last episode, we had just started our life. We are still but a young man, only about 4 or 5 years old or so. But we'll see how we go today. We'll see if we can make it into our teenage years. If not, then we'll have to get there at another time. Now the goal here... Oh shit. This one. The goal here, my friends... Not only to get to adolescence, hopefully today, but I want to defy the twin gods. That's my plan. I want to defy the twin gods and go from there. So we'll see what happens, my friends. We'll see what happens. And hopefully you guys enjoy yourselves. Sit back, relax, get yourself a delicious cup of tea, and let's have a good time. The newborn's cry. You eye the little bundle in your father's arms with curiosity. Behind the many layers of swaddling clothes is your newborn baby brother. Mother is glowing and smiling with joy. Stephen and Gloria are also here, all excited. You promise yourself you're going to be the best big brother in the world. You'll never hit him, oh no. The two of you will play together and tease Stephen together and help Mother together and go on so many adventures together. It feels so strange to be an older brother. Just the other day you were the youngest in the family. Everything is different now. Your parents name your little brother Nathan, and Mother spends day and night by his side. And Nathan cries all the time, day and night. Mother barely gets any sleep. She is so worn out, she starts forgetting things. Like today, for instance, she forgot her knitting in the armchair in the sitting room. You better bring it back to her as soon as possible. You run to Mother's bedroom. You miss her smile so much. You walk in without saying hello and give her the knitting. Instead of gratitude, you get an ice-cold, exhausted stare. Nathan is also there, screaming all the time. Go away, Barry! You're bothering me! She spits these words out through her teeth. You look at the bawling newborn. She can't even get a minute of respite. Enough already! When are you going to stop? I just want some peace and quiet. Mother leaps across the room and starts shaking Nathan with malice in her eyes. His cries get even louder. She looks so tired from his never-ending screams. She seems to be within an inch of smashing him against the wall. Somebody has to do something. You are scared of your mother right now, but you fear for Nathan's life much more. Redirect her anger to yourself. Mother keeps shaking Nathan violently, and you cannot stay away any longer. He is no longer bawling, he is shrieking. Just leave me alone. Then out comes your voice so loud it drowns out their cries. No, it's not Nathan's fault, Mother. You're just tired. Please don't do anything to my little brother. If you have to punish somebody, punish me instead. He's too young. He won't understand. Your mother freezes and looks at you. Her eyes two narrow slits. Her stare is so cold and full of pure wrath. So pure you cannot help but recoil in fear. Are you trying to teach me how to take care of a child? Are you giving me lessons on calming a newborn baby? You're insolent, insipid, nagging know-it-all. It's time you learnt your place. She puts Nathan on the bedsheets, then moves towards you. You step back, but a closed door blocks your way. She slaps you across the face. Your ears ring from the heavy blow and your cheek burns from her wrath. You wince and close your eyes, expecting a second slap. Nothing comes. Nothing but Mother's heavy breath and Nathan's shrill cries. There is a knock at the door. You step aside. Father walks in. He looks at you, clutching a reddened cheek and the bawling baby at Mother. Her eyes red with rage and tears. Her breath heavy and ragged. Go to your room, son. I'll join you soon. You do as you're told. Back in your room, you press your aching cheek against the cold window, hurt and dazed by what just happened. Soon enough, Nathan stops crying. You hear Father's heavy footsteps in the hallway. He comes to your room and sits on the bed next to you. Son, please do not be angry with your mother. The twins know she wishes nobody any harm. This is a difficult time for her, but we'll make it through it as a family. You stepped up to protect your little brother. You act like a little nobleman today. I'm proud of you. Your mother and Nathan are resting now. How bad does it hurt? You shake your head, not bad, but your hand still aches to touch the cheek. Father embraces you with a sorrowful smile and gingerly pats you on the head as you press your forehead into his housecoat. Things grow calm now. The trouble has passed and you're quietly happy. Determination +1. You're still spineless, apparently. Nathan's birth, year 1122. Your younger brother Nathan is born. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. Conditions met. Perception 4. The ant farm. The ant farm. Your younger brother Nathan is growing. Mother spends more time with the rest of the family now. You help her and play with your brother and take care of him when she asks. You often go to Mother's room to sit at the foot of her bed after Nathan falls asleep. She reads you the sacred books and asks you about the things you learned that day. During these moments, you see the world through her eyes as well. One day, the door of your room opens. She brings in a large box covered with a piece of cloth. It is rare for you to see her so overjoyed. She sets the box on the floor and removes the cloth. The box under the cloth is made of glass and has a wooden base. Inside you see a layer of earth shaped into carefully crafted passages. And these passages are full of hard-working ants. Harry, this is my gift to you, an ant farm. It's a little world in a small box. We can watch them through the glass. Look, this is the queen ant. She is the reason all these little ants were born. You sit by the box together. You hold your breath as you watch the ant colony at work. There turns out to be a method to the ants' chaotic movements. Every single one of them has a task to perform. Some of them have larger mandibles. They are the protectors of the colony. They can draw blood from your finger. Others work all around the colony, repairing the walls and cleaning any debris from the passages. There are also workers who collect food you put in a special tray. Leaves, bits of meats, maggots, and bring it to the rest of the colony. You take a worker ant and put it right next to the food. However, the insect has no interest in it. It starts circling around the tray aimlessly. Mother takes the stray ant and puts it back where it belongs. Why did you do that, my son? The ants cannot do what they weren't born to do. Each of them was born for their own job. You shake your head slowly. If only the ants could do whatever you wanted them to. This is your gift now, so they belong to you. Or maybe Mother's presence is the reason they won't obey you. Keep playing with Mother. Mother's look is full of warmth and love. Nathan, Gloria, and Father are away right now. For the first time in a long while, it's just the two of you, and Mother takes a great joy in watching over the ant farm. She shares her knowledge of the world with you. The things she tells you are true. You move close to her and suggest going outside and finding some bugs for the ants. She agrees to this happily and holds your hand as you leave the house. Soon you are busy catching bugs and sharing your thoughts on how the ants would feed the colony with them. From time to time you laugh together, making up stories about errant flies and caterpillars overthrowing the ant kingdom. You and Mother hold hands as you return to your room. She can't help but smile. It is a faint smile, a child's smile. A smile full of sunlight. You were so happy to have seen the world through her eyes today. Relations +1. Wheelplow +5, ready for action. Toy soldiers. You wake up to Father's touch on your shoulder. He is finally back home after a long trip. Barry, today is your special day. The day where you begin your studies. Now teachers will be coming to our home to teach you, and you must do everything they say. Be diligent in your studies, and you will go closer to the nobleman's lot. And since you must remember this day, a present is in order. Lydia, get our little schoolboy dressed. I am taking him to the market district. Stephen wants to come with you too, but your father shushed him sternly. This is your day. Your elder brother is hurt to hear this, but stays quiet. An open carriage takes the two of you through the dusty, noisy city streets, a pleasant wind tussling your hair. Your city is Anazotti, that you already know. It's one of the largest cities in the entire empire. There is a big shadow on the street. It comes from the white foliage of an enormous tree that spreads its branches all over the city. My son, did you know that the silver tree grew from the blood of our god's own disciples? It's been growing here for hundreds of years, right in our city. It cannot be damaged or burnt. Not even the clergy know why. The carriage comes to a halt by a small shop next to a city square. You run there and freeze by the stalls in excitement. The shop is packed with dolls and figurines and toys. You've never seen so many at once before. Have you chosen your present yet? Father asks. You have. You want the Holy Order set, which includes several figurines of the Empire's greatest warriors of all time. You rattle off everything you know about the Holy Order. They were the ones who aided the Emperor's own forces in seizing the province of Magra and storming our city. That's how we joined the Empire. Father nods in approval. Very well. War isn't your lot for now, but maybe these toy soldiers will teach you how to think like a general. We will lead them into battle and study military strategy. Go ahead, take your present. Having said this, Father turns away to examine the books. You run to the box of toy soldiers, delirious with excitement. There is a fancy-dressed boy in your way. He is about to take your warriors for himself. He elbows you aside and reaches for the box. Anger overcomes you and you push him from behind. Your opponent falls to the floor. The rich boy screams so loudly everyone in the shop hears. He hit me! He hit me! A tall tower of a man looms over you. This is the boy's father. Then you feel your own father's hands on your shoulders. What happened? You press against your father, your mind more at ease now. He will protect you. Yes, you shove the boy to the floor in front of everyone, but you try to take your present for himself. Father turns you around to face him when he hears these words. Is this true, Barry? Did you strike the son of a nobleman? Tell him the truth. It isn't fair to blame you without letting you speak too. You didn't want to shove that stupid boy. He was the one who shoved you first. But the angry nobleman, the boy's father, will not let you finish. Nobody cares a whit for your so-called truth, little lowborn. The law is the law, and your punishment is due. Your father nods in agreement to these words, no matter how sad they make him. They lead you and the nobleman's son out of the shop. You were told to bow to him and show humility. A bad feeling sends a shiver down your spine. With a satisfied grin on his face, the boy swings his arm and slaps you on the cheek. He strikes you again and again. Enough. He got what he deserved. We're leaving. Get out of our way. Your head is swimming from the heavy blows. You return to your senses back in your bed, with servants treating your face. Father stays by your side all day. The morning after, you find a little box in your bed with the tin soldiers of the Holy Orders inside. You pay dearly for your stubbornness. Determination +1. Year 1124. Summer, the family dinner. Today, Father ordered the dinner table to be brought out into the yard. For the first time in months, he's home, outside of the confines of his always locked study. He spends the entire day playing with Nathan and you, discussing various matters with Stephen, now an adolescent, and walking in the garden. And now a dinner under the open sky. Your entire family gathers together, with Father at the head of the table smiling. He asks each of you about your studies. Nathan climbs up on his knee and recites a counting rhyme in a funny sing-song voice. Stephen mentions that his fencing teacher praised his accomplishments. He rises from the table together with Father to show his skill in a practice duel. Next comes Gloria's turn. She stands on a chair and recites a lengthy prayer by heart. Mother showers your sister with praise. Father chuckles quietly, hiding a smile in his mustache. When your turn comes, you recite all the ranks in the Legion, from common soldier to high commander. Stephen listens to you with a skeptical look on his face. Night slowly falls, but the servants ensure that the yard is well illuminated. You don't feel cold in the dust tonight. It feels good, yet so important. Of all, you are finally together, sitting at the same table. No fighting, just smiles, no arguing, just pleasant small talk. Then a servant approaches father with a letter in his hand. He reads it in the dim light, and each line gradually washes the smile of his father's face until only a stone-cold mask remains. Mother looks at father with an unspoken question in her eyes. Gregor Brante is coming back to Anazot. He is the head of our family. My father. Grandfather's return, year 1124. Your grandfather Gregor Brante returned to the family home from the capital. The intrusion. Ever since the news of grandfather's impending arrival, there has not been a single day where the house has not been cleaned or decorated. Your parents anxiously make sure everything is in order. They tell you to wash your face and hands after walks and scold you for leaving books on the floor. They tell Gloria she will be flogged if she is ever seen hiding in the attic. They make Stephen stay in his room, even baby Nathan gets in trouble. Everyone is on edge. Then one day, grandfather arrives. It is a grim day. So hot your neck is sticky with sweat. Father, mother, Stephen, Gloria, you and Nathan, the entire Brante family stands on the porch in front of the house. The house servants lined up behind you. The carriage arrives and out steps a tall, gaunt old man with a heavy walking stick and a heavier gaze. Cringed instinctively. Good health to you, father. Children, greet your grandfather as you've been taught. Still trying to look like a real nobleman, are you? You can't fool me, Robert. I was the first of the Brante family to be ennobled by the mantle. Now I'm the only one who remembers how to bear this burden properly. I live honorably by my lot. Your marriage to that low-born wench cuts us off from ever becoming nobles of the sword. My progeny could have been born bearing noble blood. Father, I beg you, this is not the place. Grandfather eyes him with scorn and walks into the house, the entire family following close behind him. I've been away far too long. The entire house is a mess. This is an insult. How can you live in such a pigsty, Robert? The servants have grown far too lazy, all thanks to your commoner of a wife. I warned you, did I not? And yet you did as you saw fit. And the children, what do they know of the tradition or honor? They are being raised in a virtuous family, father. And now you're speaking like a lowborn who's content to live in humility. Twins willing, now that I'm here, this will not happen again. I'm taking your oldest son to the capital. I see you cannot provide Stephen with a proper education, so I will correct your mistake. Your brother's fate has been decided just like that. Father does not object. He orders the servants to prepare Stephen for the journey. Stephen freezes in place, glancing at grandfather and father again and again. The latter puts a hand on his shoulder reassuringly. Grandfather's lips are a tight line, white with contempt. The house is examined room after room. Everything grandfather sees is showered with scorn. He scoffs at a crease on a blanket in Nathan's crib in mother's bedroom. He mocks Gloria's knitting in her room. The door to your room is next. What is this, Robert? Tin soldier in your youngest son's room? He was born a commoner. I won't have him daydreaming of battle. Grandfather seizes the box containing the tin warriors of the Holy Order. Your father stays silent. Anger and fear boil within you. This is your big present from the first day of your studies. It means so much to you. What if he's right? What if you need to prove your right to command the toy soldiers first? Grandfather shakes his head in disapproval and shoves the toy box into the roaring fireplace. If you wait too long, they will melt into flames. Watch them melt helplessly. The wood crackles, the tin melts. The unpleasant smell of burning paint fills the room. Father grimly orders the servants to douse the fire and clean the mess that was your birthday present just a few moments ago. You watch the servants at work with a strange fascination, experiencing an odd feeling of freedom. It all seems right now. It's time for you to grow up. Grandfather leaves to examine the other rooms of the house. Willpower +5, perception +1. Year 1124, Fall. The master of the house. Soon, Grandfather leaves. Your elder brother Stephen goes with him. From that day on, Fathers hired teachers to tend to you alone. They bore you with monotonous lectures on writing, counting, the way of life, and the blessed Arcanian Empire. You often distract yourself from their instruction by playing with your younger brother Nathan. Your home grows quiet without your elder brother. Too quiet. Weeks later, your family receives a letter from Stephen. Grandfather has sent him to a boarding school for nobles, and he is now studying hard in preparation for his service as a nobleman. The rules here are way too strict. You can't even sneeze without the teacher's permission. But I've been studying with my peers. We're learning how to live as nobles in a noble society. We're also learning the art of swordplay. That's my favorite part. With Stephen now at the boarding school, Grandfather arrives once more, this time to live in your home. The only good thing is that he often has urgent business in Eterna, the capital of the Empire, and has to travel there. One day you ask Mother where he had lived before. In Eterna, she says, but now his place is here. Each time Grandfather returns, he gives the servants new orders. Your home is now always busy with repairs. The servants are redecorating Grandfather's chambers, including his library and sitting room. Sometimes Father tries to gently talk him out of this. Why subject the house to constant reconstruction? Grandfather's answer is always the same. This home is mine, and I will live here as befits a man of nobility. An illustrious gift. Some days Grandfather stays home, and on those days you try your best to stay out of his sight. But there is no way you can avoid family breakfast. The food is there, but you cannot bring yourself to eat it. Mother's eyes are red and swollen. She's been crying all night again. Grandfather sits at the head of the table, where nobody used to sit before. Robert, it is high time your younger sons underwent their sacraments. Sir Brante, please, let them live free of the lot for a while longer. They are but... Shut your mouth! Robert, that wife of yours is impertinent enough to interrupt me. If this ever happens again, she'll be eating her gruel with the servants in the kitchen where she belongs. It is time you considered a real marriage, Robert. One to a woman of the proper station. Gloria drops her fork. Grandfather shoots her a scathing look. A tear rolls down Mother's cheek. Father does not look away from the plate, his hands clenched into fists. Baroness L. Lador is such a woman. She is a comely widow and a fine match. She is suing for her inheritance right now and could use a proper support and a husband. You can keep your low-born Lydia around if you like. Servant, mistress, I don't care. I will not do that, Father. I am the head of this family, and the family standing took a severe blow after you married that commoner. It is unthinkable. How could you give up the memory of beautiful Amelia Elborn for this lowly woman and that bastard Charles of hers? But now you have a chance to set things right. Don't disappoint me. Father nods curtly, trying not to look in Mother's direction. Father, I wish to see Stephen. If I find your conduct in the Baroness's presence satisfactory enough, then you may see him. She is coming for a visit tomorrow. Be prepared. Grandfather wipes his mouth with his napkin, throws it onto his plate and leaves. Mother's lips move silently. Nobody says a word. Then Father stands up and orders you and the other children back to your rooms. He needs to speak to Mother in private. Father comes to your room before bedtime. He sits on the edge of the bed and adjusts a crease on the woolen blanket. He distances himself from you after Stephen's departure, so you are not used to such attention from him. In the candlelight, you can see his face in the dark. There is a sour expression on it. My son, Baroness Emma L. Ladar, will be visiting us tomorrow. Please be polite and treat her with respect. Nathan will do as you do. I want this dinner to be as immaculate as possible. Don't let me down. On the next day, Mother starts dressing you and Nathan for the coming dinner. You see red all around her eyes. She's been crying, and for a long time. It hurts just to look at her. Nathan starts whining quietly. You and Nathan are dressed in new doublets, your tousled hair brushed into shape. Gloria is told to stay in her room. Father appears wearing his best suit. Mother is in a humble brown dress, looking pale. Grandfather has an uncharacteristically contented look about him. You hear the sound of wheels and hooves against the cobbles in the yard, then a pair of dainty heels come clanking. The antechamber is completely quiet and still. Fearing Grandfather's observant eye, the door opens. You see your guest, a beautiful dark-haired woman in a dress of elegant deep blue. Father takes the hand of Lady El-Ladar and kisses it, showering her in compliments. Grandfather's face is beaming in her presence. No one even bothers to introduce Mother. Baroness, allow me to introduce you Robert's sons, Barry and Nathan Brante. Frankly, it's his eldest, Stephen, who deserves the most attention, but currently is studying in Eterna with other young noblemen like himself. It is my hope that his youngest sons will also make me proud one day. Grandfather eyes you with a probing look. How will you act in front of the Baroness? Will you accept her here next to your mother, your father's rightful wife? Demand that Mother be introduced. You follow your father's example and kiss the Baroness's fingers gently. Her laughter fills the antechamber, ringing like chimes. Behind your back you can hear Mother sobbing. Grandfather nods to you in approval. Out of the corner of your eye you see Mother quietly walking upstairs. No, this is wrong. This cannot be. You walk up to Father, look him in the eye, and ask in a voice loud enough to be heard by everyone, why didn't he introduce Mother to the guest? She is his legal wife and your mother, is she not? There is silence. Mother stops on the stairs and turns her head in surprise. Father is confused. Nathan starts whining again. Grandfather grinds his teeth, his hand tightly gripping the heavy walking stick. You keep Father transfixed by your gaze. After a few moments that feel like an eternity, he winks at you, almost imperceptibly, then adjusts his doublet and turns to your noble guest. Baroness, allow me to introduce Lydia Brante, my wife and mother to my youngest children. Lydia, would you be so kind as to join us for dinner? What are you saying, Robert? Father, it would be a disgrace to hold a family dinner without the lady of the house. Father marches up the stairs and offers his hand to Mother. She accepts it and walks down with a shy smile on her face, for the first time in those many days. The Baroness presses her lips in contempt at the sight. After a long moment, Grandfather finally breaks the uneasy silence and leads everyone into the dining room. Mother sits at the furthest corner of the table, claiming that she needs to watch over Nathan. There is barely any small talk over dinner, apart from the Baroness and Grandfather discussing her widowhood and inheritance litigation. Father and Mother do not say a word throughout the meal, yet they no longer look as tense as the day before. There is not even a mention of any potential marriage. As soon as the door closes behind the Baroness, you flee to your bedroom and lock the door. Grandfather's heavy footsteps can already be heard in the hallway. He is a force of anger, eager to get his hands on you. Whelp, you had the nerve to interfere in the adults' affairs. You ruined the dinner with the Baroness. Open the door this instant and face the punishment you deserve. And suddenly his voice dies down. You hear Father speaking quietly. We both realize there can be no other marriage, Father. I already have a wife, and there is nothing to be done about it. I'm sorry, Father, but you'll have to accept it. And please, leave my son alone. He only helped me face the truth, nothing else. Grandfather huffs and puffs at a loss for words. You hear the head of the Brante family and his adult son retreat from the door of your room. It seems there will be no punishment today after all. Grandfather leaves for Eterna alone. About a fortnight later, Father receives a letter from Stephen. It seems Grandfather told him about the incident with the Baroness, and so the letter is full of ire. He writes that you have remained high society. He writes that you have reminded high society about father's marriage to a lowborn woman, and now the family's reputation is at stake. Father winces as you read Stephen's letter, deep in thought. Mother is smiling again because of father's actions. Her joy a quiet, happy glow. Relations -1 with Gregor Brante. Unity +1. Reputation -1. Alright, my friends, I think that is where we are going to end the episode here. My goodness, that was a good episode. A lot has happened. We met the head of the Brante family, and my goodness, he's not exactly what I would call a gentleman, my goodness. Still, my friends, have an absolutely lovely day, a lovely night, and hopefully I'll see you guys really, really soon, okay?